Okay. So this is a lot of us bringing microphones to people. Are you really going to all stay up there at the top? I'm 52. We are.
Come
We're
on down.
more than.
Thank you so much for coming down the stairs. If you're just coming back to the room, we're inviting you to come closer because all we're doing this session is running the mic back and forth. Please come closer. All right, welcome to Listserv Live Marketing Edition. This session is meant to be more informal. This is meant to be an opportunity for you to ask the questions that you have not asked of the group yet. Insta poll the room, get a feel for who you still have time to connect to today. We are recording this, so if you miss the answer, if you miss who's talking, you'll still have an opportunity to watch this back and get good information out of it. We have questions if we need them, but we're counting on you to come up with great questions to ask your peers in this last session. We've got time until about 3:30. So we've got almost an hour, a little over an hour at this point, to ask questions of each other and pick each other's brains. We are going to run the mics back and forth, but this session depends on your participation. So who's got our first question?
Does anyone else feel badly unseen by the rest of their advancement department? And how have you built that bridge?
So at one time, yes. However, I met with the VP of Marcom and expressed our concerns about not being involved in, their meetings and all their planning and making sure that they understood the importance of the alumni audience because we do have the largest audience to communicate with. And just really kind of laying out on the table the value that we gave to them, it really sort of opened their eyes to us. And now we are involved in all of their weekly communicator meetings, their social media planner meetings. There are other monthly collaborator meetings where they bring us all into the same space to co-create, I guess you'd say. And we've been able to share our calendar with them. And more so than anything, it gave me the opportunity to meet all the other people who were communicating with other audiences that I need to reach, especially like our social media team, because we were completely ignored on the university social accounts. And now Payson works directly with the social team to make sure that they share our stuff, we share theirs, they collaborate with us on post, and it's really kind of changed the whole landscape for us within the university.
Anyone else with a perspective to share to Dan's question or new question? Cool. Okay, backup question number 1. Oh, you ready? Okay, we're ready. Ryan from KU's got the first one. You got it? Okay, what housekeeping quick? You have to say your words into the microphone or it won't get picked up on the recording. And if you're turning it on, this little baby screen will glow and that's how you know that it's on, everyone.
Hello. Hi, Ryan from KU alumni here. I do digital strategy. curious if any of you guys have any specific wins or takeaways or actionable before and after items that you came up with as a result of really investing your time into Google Analytics, specifically on your websites. Unfortunately, I have no actual things to provide to that. However, has anybody ever heard of Google for Nonprofits? Okay, I just found out about it like a month ago. You apply through Good Stack and you can get up to $100,000 in like Google Analytics just for the year. And it's all on them. So I would highly recommend everyone check that out if they haven't already.
I just want to add to that. It was actually $100,000 in ad spend, not analytics. But just as an aside, if it's something that you are interested in, Google Analytics does offer free trainings that you can go through that are pretty good. And they have some good resources to kind of help you get through that data if you're looking at it specifically. So if you wanted to connect, I used to work at an agency before I came into the nonprofit world. So feel free to connect. Tiana Day from UW Superior. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
So I can speak from experience at the Texas X's. So I'm at Michigan now, but when I was at the Texas X's, we really leaned on Google Analytics to say, do more of what works, less of what doesn't. So when people would come to us and say, oh, I need to overhaul the career resources page, the first thing we did was go look at Google Analytics and be like, you've received X amount of traffic, X amount of clicks. This is not something that rises to the priority of a total overhaul. Let's right size that work and decide what we want to invest in. And maybe they have a page that is really performing well. Let's make that we'll move that to the focus and drive engagement that way. We really used it as a way to right size what kind of work we were doing and where we were putting our resources.
Yeah, we did a similar thing. Basically, we took a look, we're redesigning our website and we were looking at our most visited pages and then the time spent on the pages and realizing that the ones that didn't have enough time spent on them, they're not telling people what they need to see. So we're reworking those pages to make sure that they're going there, they're looking for something, but now we need to figure out how to make it give them what they were looking for. So we're doing focus groups and some email surveys to get people to tell us what they're looking for on those pages. But we definitely keep an eye on them. We've done some trackable links too to kind of see how things are performing. And so that's a great way to use them as well.
I want to double click on the trackable links. Is anyone, are you or anybody in here doing, have you cracked the code on being able to track conversions from email when maybe all of your tools don't necessarily talk together really well?
So I don't do this through Google Analytics, but I run a membership program and we use appeal codes. Is that the system that works within our CRM? And so I use, for example, an appeal code on a direct mail piece that's printed on it. I also put a different appeal code in the vanity URL or the QR code on there. So I can attribute them both to that channel. I use a different appeal code in the emails that I'm sending out. Sometimes various ones if I want to track different audiences. And we just use a general one for social media right now, but the more we use, we can kind of see like this post led to this conversion. So because I have dollars involved, I'm able to see that through line all the way to the conversion using appeal codes and like embedding them in a vanity URL so they're not ugly.
You're on iMods or
No,
Encompass?
we use Alumni IQ for
Okay.
membership sale.
Okay. We're looking at them.
Yeah. If you have questions.
Great, thanks.
All right, who's next? Next question. All right, my question is about texting. Is anybody using texting strategically? Are we using texting in a panic like us? Like, tell me about texting, who you're using, what your strategy is.
Definitely strategically, I think that we rely on like our regional chapters to tell us what their audience prefers in some cases, but more often than not, it's like a last minute desperation sign up for a small audience is what we prefer.
Is it working? Yeah. Yeah, we use texting pretty strategically. We use it for membership renewals. About I think we do them once a month, and we also do targeted stuff for events. Usually, if it has a fundraising aspect, is kind of what we're reserving it for right now. And we try to use our engagement score to get the most, so we're not blasting and wasting all of our texts, and especially in big areas like Oklahoma City or Tulsa, we try to really either use membership or engagement score to figure out who to talk to.
Does anybody who does texting use Vazi? I have a demo with them.
You and I uses Vazi.
Okay, you'll have to let me know privately what you think about that.
So, I mean, I'll speak a little bit to what we do too. So we started using it as a like midday day of giving reminder for those who had given the year prior, who had not yet given that day, which was tough. Like we were trying to pull that data almost in real time to make sure that that list was clean. Then we started using it on annual giving stewardship. And in the middle, we've been just like, oh shoot, that event has 4 people and we paid a lot of money for it. We've got to get more butts and seats. And that is the piece that I feel like we're just not using it as engagement strategy well. So if anybody knows anybody who's really cornered that, like using it to update data, using it to move people to the next thing, not just to click a registration and get there, I would love to know. Like, yes, I will talk about you whenever.
Hello?
Oh, of
Let's talk
course.
together.
Yeah, we'll talk together. You ready? We'll go back and forth. So I actually use texting predominantly for our students. And so I invite them to Ring Week. I update them on ring ceremony, details, picking up their tickets, any changes that we have for the ceremony. I text them for senior week activities. We are exploring trying to do our incoming students. They're a little more sensitive to giving us those phone numbers for them, but we want to invite them to all of the welcome week events. We use it after when people sign up for events, they can opt in to be texted with any update to the event. And we are really trying to explore when people update their contact information, having it on there to say, I would rather be communicated by text. And then we would start using that more predominantly, but they have to opt in. The system that I use is just to remind if you have children and any of their students, they tend to use that in schools, but it does ask them if they want to opt in before it will start sending my text messages to it. So we've been really good about making sure that we're not over texting, but at the same time, our students very, very well respond to that.
Just to add on to what Dana was saying, like we also text incoming freshmen a week after they go to our orientation. So we have a table at orientation that they have to come talk to us basically, or we hope they come talk to us. And so we email them before they get there, but then a week after they attend, we shoot them a text if they did not join. So we take out the members that already joined, but if they didn't join, we'll shoot them a text, and it's been pretty successful. So.
I was going to add, alternatively, our annual giving office, which is not within the Alumni Association, has a texting platform, and they've seen success like between asks. They'll send donors like, hey, thank you on Valentine's Day. We appreciate you. Happy Valentine's Day. Here's a discount to the Alumni Association store. And like 80 people bought stuff on the store. And then they become donors through our store. So we've partnered. We vote on our homecoming shirt. The last 2 years, we've sent the annual giving has sent out to texted donors, hey, vote on this shirt. So like they've kind of used it as a palate cleanser, some of like Alumni Association stuff between their asks that they're making.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
So when I was at Texas, we had
investigated starting a TikTok channel, and then our governor was like, no TikTok for you. And so we didn't get to have one. Does anybody have a TikTok channel? And if so, how is it performing? Some interesting feedback I've heard that the Michigan, like the central office at Michigan had given the Alumni Association was that they were spending a lot of time on it and they weren't seeing the results. And so I'm wondering if anybody has started one and how it's going.
Yeah, so our university doesn't have a TikTok account itself. Our athletic department does. So I feel like we're kind of seen as like the TikTok account for Nebraska. And we've seen a pretty good result there. We're still like kind of new slash like getting a good footing. But I would say even like if you don't have one or can't have one, like on your like for your university, to get one for you personally to figure out what the students want to see and use that same trends on other social platforms.
That was the exact strategy of the Texas X's, and Carson can tell you all about her trend reports that she had to turn into me every day from TikTok. Well, once a week, but yeah, that for the rest of the room, that is such good advice, is to see what they're looking at on other channels and then just put it on Instagram.
We also cannot have TikTok in the state of Iowa, but what our central university marketing has told us is that you can still advertise on TikTok without having a TikTok account. Now, I don't know how to do it, but I can connect you with the person who told me that if that is something of interest to you.
Something I'll add to for Nebraska, and kind of going off of what Bailey said of just being on TikTok, is we found some really great content from alumni or people who are just connected with the university who are posting their own stuff on TikTok that we're able to use and repurpose for Instagram Reels or something like that. So just because you maybe can't like repost or post something on TikTok itself, you can take that content that's like already reached a ton of people and bring it over to other platforms too. And Bailey's done a great job of doing that for us.
I just want to add on that we do have a TikTok. I'm pretty mindful about making sure I'm not just taking the same content and posting across all channels, because we know what performs on one won't perform as well on another. I will say, if you're fortunate enough to have students working for you, if your goal is to reach students, have your students tell you what's trending, because as a 55-year-old, my algorithm is very different. And I'll bring ideas to our meeting and they look at me blankly like, what are you talking about? That will not go over well. So they're a wonderful resource. They're really, I think, more in tune with the trends than I am or have the time to be. So I'm just, yeah, they've been great to work with.
Something else I'll say about TikTok is I also find a lot of alumni were talking about you, or maybe people that I know went to see you. And we reached out to someone who actually does social media for the Colorado Avalanche, our hockey team. And she was posting great stuff, kind of day in the life content. So we're collaborating with her to try a social media takeover on our Instagram channel. So for us, it's been a great way to reach out to content creators, maybe audiences we haven't thought of. And I hope not only doing social media collaborations, maybe feature, mentorship programs. We can have people on our magazine and do other spotlight stories on maybe people we haven't thought about yet that young alumni might find cool. Perfect. So I have another question. Every March at ASU, we have Sun Devil Giving Day, which is where we target a bunch of different alumni segments and try and get them to donate to our chapter scholarships or some of our just like local scholarship funds that we have. And every year we always try and strategize some different ways to go about that. So I know we're really trying to look at how to encourage young alumni to donate and what strategies like might look like for that, as well as, getting testimonials from like our chapter scholars, but we're kind of struggling with what really lands with our audience. So I was just wondering if you have any recommendations or strategies for things that work well for you guys when it comes to getting people to donate and annually give, any marketing campaigns, etc.
I can, again, I've only clarify, I've only been in Michigan for 13 days, so I'm not going to speak to anything they do probably very well. But the Texas X is one of the most successful campaigns they did around giving was a label mailer. They sent address labels to people who had given. It is the highest performing campaign we do across all membership, annual giving. There was nothing we did that was as successful as that. And if you're curious about what they were doing, Jamie Purrier at the Texas X's is a great resource to talk to about that.
Our annual giving group, which is separate from us, but they've had a really successful campaign the last 2 years. We have lots of squirrels on the lawn of Old Main, which is our sort of oldest kind of flagship building at the university. And they have the campaign the last 2 years has been Name a Squirrel. And if people will they give $18.71, they can name a squirrel, and that's 1871 after our founding year. And then there are also other options. They can give larger quantities. They can name a whole, I guess, fleet of squirrels, herd of squirrels. I don't know what a group of squirrels is called. But it's been a really successful campaign the last 2 years, and just something that someone came up with. I think it's a digital certificate. They fill out a form along with the amount of money they're giving. Most people are giving way more than $18.71, by the way. But then, they just get a digital certificate with the name of their squirrel. It's
Feeling that.
It's absolutely everybody steal it. It's incredible.
We also did a squirrel naming give thing, which is interesting to me, but it was for senior send off. On the question about the Giving Day information, I would say in addition to like the mailing and the campaign and having a more strategic email and social media strategy related to it, one of the things, and this is me speaking out of context because our annual giving team does run all of that and we're not as involved outside of the Alumni Association specifically. But one of the things that they've really focused on lately, which has been very successful for them, is kind of rallying the troops. And they've spent way more time on campus speaking with different departments, colleges, student organizations, and kind of the academic pieces to provide them with the artistic toolkit to be successful, the verbiage, the marketing materials, and saying you connect with the people that have either been involved with or graduated from your college because they're going to look to hear from you. So they'll do info sessions and then provide them with all of that information from a digital aspect afterwards.
Yeah, I co-sign the campus partners, like 100%. That's our most successful thing. We spend way more months of the year planning how to get campus partners involved. And then I have a colleague who went to a social media conference and came back with an idea for a viral reel contest. So we incentivize student organizations and our athletic teams with funds for their fund. If they are the organization or the sports team that gets the most views or likes or comments or shares or whatever metric we're using that year, so they were incentivized to create that content. And people are really competitive. So once volleyball started doing a 20-day countdown, a new reel every day, football got involved, and then wrestling got involved. And once athletics was going, then our student orgs got going. So using your students and using your campus partners 100% is how we get the word out the best. We also leaned in. We're lucky this year to be celebrating our 150th anniversary. So we had an opportunity to upgrade a lot of our like $100 or $75 donors to a $150 gift with a puzzle incentive. That has been a super helpful opportunity. Magellan, who has been a previous camp sponsor, is a really great partner with things like that. So going off of the day of giving thing, we, again, we're not with annual giving, but we work very closely with them. They do a great job with the campus partners and been doing it for years. But another thing they do that really seems to resonate with our younger alumni, and you don't think they want to pick up the phone, but they do, because they get out. A lot of time our Greek organizations will have like a little mini phone-a-thon during that time. And so they're going to call all of their alums and ask them to give money to the house or whatever fund they have going. Like that week of, and if they don't give, they're at least getting to talk to one of their students. So they're very excited about that. Our OTC usually does one, the College of Business. So they work really hard to get those in. Of course, they strategically don't give them our larger donors, obviously. So they're calling those all throughout that week as well. So getting them excited about Day of Giving.
I have a question. Has anybody had any success in building an ambassador program with your social media and finding people to speak on your behalf? Oh, okay.
You still work there?
Hello. Okay, it is on. So my colleague Trinity kind of resides over this a little bit more. But we do have an ambassador program that kind of lives underneath Trinity, who's under social media, and then also our student engagement coordinator. And so it's really cool. It's a really cool opportunity to get students involved, and they are really helpful in creating content. They help at every student event that we put on. So every home game that we have at Texas, we do these shirts called beach shirts. Where did we get that from? We got that from the school here, from Florida. Yeah, thank you, Florida. And so we do beach shirt giveaways, and at every giveaway, the students run the table, or they do like social media content for us. You know, there's some things where it's like, Jordan and I are not always the most outgoing, and we don't really want to like do like a man on the street style video where we're like coming up to everybody and asking them about, you know, what their thoughts are on the score for the upcoming game and stuff like that. So they're just a really great resource, and they're really like excited to get involved. And there's always a lot of applications whenever we do put that out. So you, no. Well, actually, yes, they do get a ring credit.
So the way, when we first started it, one of the things that we did was we gave them a free student membership. That way, every single social ambassador could say on their channel to their followers, oh, I'm a member of the Texas X's. I'm a student member, and this is what I get for it. So they got that fulfillment kit as well, and then they would promote that to their followers. The other thing we did was we were really, really intentional about who we invited to apply. It was an open application. Anyone could apply, but we also went out and looked at micro influencers on campus. So people with between 2,000 and 5,000 followers. Once you get to 7,000 followers, they want money. 5,000, 2,000 to 5,000 followers. They're trying to grow their audience. And so we would give them a $50 ring credit, $50 per semester they serve towards a life membership at graduation, the student membership. And then we were super intentional about finding ones. We really try to always have one who's involved in a sorority. I mean, the fraternities aren't like coming to like beat down our door and participate, but the sorority girls are. So we would get someone who is in a Panhellenic group. We would get somebody who is in one of the in band. We had somebody who was a athletic media intern. So they went to all the away games, and we were super intentional about who we picked so that they had an audience and they had a perspective that we wouldn't necessarily be able to provide as a social media coordinator. We're never going to go with athletics to an away game, but they could.
Yeah. And the girl who works in athletics, we got her to do a game day takeover on the field. So you just got to see the behind the scenes of like the photography and videography team and kind of how that all plays out, and shots of the field, like you're like the dudes are getting tackled like right in front of her, and it's on our page, and it always gets a lot of engagement. So definitely we always try to have a super well-rounded group of student ambassadors.
What about alumni social media ambassadors? Has anyone tried that yet?
Sorry. So for, oh, did y'all already have somebody over there? Yeah.
We tried it in its first year. It was successful. I mean, the numbers grew. Really don't have a lot to add. That's why I just kind of nodded. We tried it one year, and we're going to continue doing it. We called it crewmates. I think the key was just giving it a brand, and then it'll continue to grow. Yeah. So we had our advancement staff, basically just people they knew in different chapters. I mean, we leaned in our regional chapters, started with chapter leaders, and then you just grow it from there.
We don't do this currently at ASU, but I used to work for the Iowa State Alumni Association. I'm not sure if they still do this. I've been there for a couple years. But they had ambassadors for like event specific or specific events. So they were targeted towards young alumni, but they were brewery tours. I can't remember the name. If you scroll back, you could probably find it. So that one specifically, they found someone who lived in the area that was And then they did like a brewery each month, I think. So they had someone go before the event and be like, I'm here, this is where we're gonna be. And it was kind of like a what to expect, like here's where to park and things, because that's something that it was trying to take the nerves off and be like, this is very casual and we're here to like welcome you. I think they just kind of found it like word of mouth. It's also was a smaller community, so that's probably more helpful. But I know like someone was a real estate agent, and then I think someone like worked at one of the breweries. So it was event specific, which I think was less to ask of people than to be like, will you promote us as a whole?
Okay. So we do something at the University of Wyoming, or at least our alumni association, and we provide alumni-owned businesses in the town of Laramie stickers. And we've always thought about doing like an alumni-owned like feature as part of like our social media content and like getting people to explore locally owned businesses or alumni-owned businesses. But we've never thought about it. Like we've always thought about like, oh, okay, maybe they could do like a tier, like we could do they pay us to help promote their business. But have you guys ever done like a free or not free, but like have you ever just done that sort of series and seen a lot of good engagement with that? Or like,
We have,
okay.
we've been doing, we just, the summer series, Fable Favorites. We started last year just highlighting sort of nostalgic places that we knew, like, I would say more of our millennial alumni would really be drawn to. It went gangbusters. We used all the tricks, whatever was going on with the algorithm last summer, we used all of it. Went really, really well. We've done them again this summer, and we're highlighting newer businesses in the area, encouraging our alumni to visit them when they come to town. I will say it hasn't, because they're newer businesses and they're not necessarily resonating with people immediately. They haven't been as successful in terms of views, but we've had a lot more engagement, like people asking questions. And then we've also had those businesses reaching out, and most of them have become like Perks partners with us. So
We pick a Buff-owned business every month and we promote it specifically on LinkedIn. And that's been going really well. And it's also an engagement opportunity for us. And it's all been free so far. I don't think we've looked into any paid opportunities. And it's also been a partnership with other marketing and communications teams around campus. And we've compiled things like we do a Christmas gift guide every summer, and we do an infographic that always does really well. Or what we are doing for the summer, like 50 restaurants around the country, and we're having like a map of alumni-owned businesses, and that usually comes from where we hold chapter and regional watch parties. So it's been fun as a way to repurpose content, both long form storytelling and infographics, and putting them in more than one place.
General question and open-ended. I'm just wondering how people handle regional chapter communications. Whether you template them, like do you lean on them to do part of it? I know for us, we do something called Chapter 411. That's a monthly email that goes to their region, and it's pretty templated across the board. So just wondering how you guys communicate.
So at the University of Kansas, basically what we do is first and foremost, like everybody, most of your alumni lives nearby. So we have a newsletter, monthly newsletter that goes to all alumni in Kansas and the Kansas City Metro, since that's split across Kansas and Missouri. And so in that, I kind of use that as a hub for not just news about KU and KU alumni that's related to Kansas, but also upcoming events. And I do that just so that I don't send to all alumni in Wichita just about a Wichita happy hour. That's since there's so many alumni and they're so connected to the university already by being close that I don't feel like it's worth it to send an email just for one event. So I like to include it in the monthly newsletter whenever I can. Beyond that, if there's a one-off event, the Denver Jayhawks are having a happy hour, I will send an email to Denver Jayhawks inviting them. We don't do any like newsletter templates or upcoming event calendar templates for anything else. It's just as those events happen.
And we also have Facebook groups that, of course, the regional volunteers are asked to post it in there as well. We kept the fight up as long as we could for there to not be regional network Instagram pages because we did not want a single alumni who's not of a face to represent the KU Alumni Association. But that dam has eventually broke this year because people want to be on Instagram. And so we're still just trying to monitor that.
I will preface this with two things. I don't oversee this, and I don't know that it's the best practice, but I think it's the best way we've wrangled the circus is once a month, the networks get their own newsletter to their population, and they have access to build it in our email system currently. We're in Alumni queue right now. I think they're re-looking at how it's going and the metrics, but we've done that for probably 2 years now, and it's, I think, made it easier on our internal team to manage the chaos of it being the same time of month every month. They do it on Sundays, and then they give our internal team enough time to edit them. So we do review them internally, but it's on each network to craft them themselves, and they don't get standalone emails about their events. It's in their specific monthly newsletter. Yeah, we call them networks. It's chapters. Yeah. Full buy-in from the networks. I'm not sure. I can't speak to that. I know most of our active networks do send one. So I'm assuming, and we have very robust boards on each of our networks. So I would be very safe to say that there is someone on each network who's putting it together. And I think if they don't have anything, then it doesn't go out. And then I do think we infuse some things across their newsletters, like the homecoming message and that kind of stuff.
So we have a process where our clubs and groups submit a form to request their emails to go out. So they supply all of the content to us. We don't restrict them to a certain day of the week or any specific, there's really no confinement other than making sure that it's appropriate and it's, making the university look good. But once it comes through that system, it is vetted by our engagement team that is over the territory. And so once they give that approval, I do have someone in-house who builds the emails and uses their graphics if they are appropriate. And then we do test messages. So we do go through several different, I see every email. I go through them all before they get approved to be sent out. We have a calendaring system. You can request a date. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but we will look at it. We will try to accommodate it. But we send all email to all alumni from the whole university. So it's the whole calendar shows everything that's going out. So we make sure that we're not overlapping audiences at the same time, or, those people got too much email this week. So we're going to try to push this off since your event's not for another 6 weeks or something along those lines. We do have total buy-in because they can't have access to any of the email addresses. So they don't have a way to communicate with them otherwise. We do allow them to have social media pages, but we do have rules about how they use them. They all have been given a stackable version of their logo that is the only thing that's appropriate for them to use as their photo on their pages. Our engagement team is required to go through their own clubs on a regular basis on their social media to make sure they're not doing anything that's, wildly inappropriate, or because we can't showcase alcohol. It's university rules and things like that. So we do keep a close eye on it, but we found that if we try to confine them, they're going to find other ways to try to do things. And then they start using AI to create crazy. We just had a whole thing with them last week. The things that they came up, one of them was a fox that it made. It wasn't even a tiger. And I'm like, how did you not know that wasn't a tiger? But essentially keeping it open to let them have their own creativity, but then know that we're going to support their effort, I think has really made them, and then they don't have to spend the time to build all the emails and figure out who it's going to and that kind of thing. So we try to be as good a partner as possible to let them have their own creativity.
All right. Go ahead. What platform do you use for your email calendar?
So it's on our website. So I have a website programming team that created that for me, and it's visible so people can submit the request. They can look at it, see what dates are open and know what other content's going out. So when they submit their form, they automatically know I'm going to need to avoid that date, or maybe I need to go ahead and put in a save the date for me so that I can make sure I have that when it's coming up. But it's literally just built into the back of our platform. Now, we are the only ones that can actually change it. But the email system is, we use Gravity Forms on our website. That's how they request to send out emails. If that helps.
What do you want to hear next year at camp? What topics did we not cover this year that you want a session on next year? Ooh, here we go.
A student engagement session would be interesting. I know we kind of put some things in other presentations, but I think that could be really fun. In what capacity, student engagement? I should answer, or the presentation should, or? I think trends, ideas. I'd be curious to hear if anyone else had any other things.
I would love more data talk, specifically CRMs. I think maybe if we had sort of like a mini session where it's like, okay, everybody who's involved in CRM data, get into this room. Now, if you're on iMods, go here. If you're on Salesforce Marketing Cloud, go here.
We have that talk at lunch. We think that's a really good idea.
So something like that, so that, and then potentially as people who are in different stages of the process, whether they're exploring, just getting started in the middle of the transition, or, or on the other side, can sort of share tips moving along on the process.
I think maybe advice on advocating for your role and advocating for resources from leadership would be really helpful. So how to develop talking points during those conversations, and just best tips and tricks for advocating for yourself in your role.
Yes, just piggybacking off of what you said, talking about like which platforms work best for you, like what do you use for social media, your website, your CRM, because it's getting overwhelming, like with all the new platforms. So just which works best.
I'd love to see Salesforce journeys. So not everyone's on it, but you can also get scrappy in your other platforms too. So I'd love for the note taker.
For the board, we would love, if you haven't created the survey yet, for us to maybe add questions about what email, what your CRM is, what your email platform is, just a couple of other questions like that. So maybe we can decide next year, because I think it would be great to build a session, or maybe more than one session, around the data side of it or the email creation side of it, whether it's journeys or just, some of the stuff Christina was talking about yesterday with the send times. Like, I was like, oh, well, we have Salesforce, and I went in there and our Einstein hasn't been activated. And so I was like, are we going to do that? So there's all these different things that I don't think, they're not people at our university that have the capacity to just sit down and train me, but getting an overview of the things that are available and having people as resources to reach out to in our field would be really helpful.
While we pass the mic around, quick show of hands, if CRM or Salesforce or not, who is using journeys in any of their platforms? Okay. You got brave there at the end. I saw more hands go up. Okay. What else? What other topics did we not cover? Do we want more AI?
AI?
As part of the social media, like breakout room stuff, I think it would be beneficial to learn about how you guys are using like paid social media, like through Meta and then maybe other platforms that you guys are using, and see like what like kind of things you're covering and like topics that you guys are boosting, like boosted things of that nature.
Back of the room's been quiet. Back of the room, what do you got?
button?
So to be honest, we almost never boost anything or pay for anything. Is anybody here gotten monetization on Meta yet or anything like that? I just got it this last like fall, and basically it doesn't make that much money. You are not going to get rich doing it, but it does supplement. It's about maybe $50 to $200 a month, depending on how good you're doing. I use that to actually supplement, and I use it for more targeted, like we did something in San Francisco, which has a population of about 20 alumni. So a really small amount of people to hit. So you can spend like $20 and try to hit more people that are tangentially involved in the university that might want to go to a baseball game and stuff like that. So
I think it'd be super interesting to hear more about how people are utilizing LinkedIn. I know that the X's had a really figure it out as we went sort of approach to how to utilize LinkedIn, and we figured out some things that worked really well. We often talk to Carson about that because she helped with that a lot. But I would love to know how people are utilizing LinkedIn, particularly pages. Groups seem really tricky, but if somebody's got a good group strategy, let me know.
Raise your hand if you think you're decent at LinkedIn. We'll write your name down. All right, if we're done brainstorming for next year, doing our jobs for us, who's got a win? You know, we've talked to a lot of different platforms, a lot of different things. Is there anything you want to brag about that we can learn from?
So one from KU alumni, one recent cross-org win we had is only recently launched, so we don't really have the results yet that we're hoping to find. But we took exactly what Texas Access did and relaunched our business directory. We already had a business directory that was free for anybody to join. But you may have seen in our marketing materials, we launched a KU Alumni Business Directory partnership program for people who want to pay to get to top features, top additional information, and then specifically social media shout outs on LinkedIn. We don't do much sponsored content on our social media, so this will be a big break. And specifically, it's the model of like this alumnus owns this company, tagging the alumnus and the company, the photo of them, getting them front and center featured, that we hope is able to justify the $1,000 price point. But, in reality, even if it doesn't go gangbusters, we're not tracking this compared to life memberships or something like this. If we get, 6, then we pay for any additional spend we did on developing the website page and things like that. So that's something that in collaboration with business development, we were able to launch a new asset, bring it to market.
Back to LinkedIn, we did have some success, and I just remembered this. We did badges we do a senior awards program every year. This year we honored 320 seniors of significance. And then from that, there's a review process, and we have 20 Razorback Classics. And from those, we have our 2 senior honor citations, which is our oldest senior award program on campus. But we offered them badges this year for LinkedIn, but they had to follow our account and tag us when they posted it. And so we ended up with 320 new LinkedIn followers. And so we're going to start doing that every year. It's hard to build an audience on LinkedIn. People are there, but they're really only looking for their university when they're looking for a job. And we don't have a page. We have a showcase page under the universities because I don't know, when LinkedIn was launched, one of our alumni bought or just like reserved Arkansas alumni and will not give it to us. I don't want to sue an alum if I don't have to. So, but yeah, I've thought about it.
Ours is a little bit unique, but I had to find some stats to be able to talk about it. So for anyone who has the ability to, we did something really unique this spring where we auctioned off license plates. So we have a collaboration with our Department of Transportation. We were able to auction off a plate in each county for 10 days straight. So we did 230 plates. We raised over $113,000. 25 of those plates went for over $1,000. And there were 31 people who purchased at least 2 plates or more. So it was a really like oddball idea that I will
give to
Question.
executive director Jack Tennant, but it went really good.
Is it because your plates like contribute to scholarships? Like, how are you allowed to auction them off?
Yes, they contribute to scholarships. So we essentially covered the cost of the fees to work with YDOT. And then the monies went to the scholarship program in addition to revenue generated for our department.
That's so cool.
Numbers?
Funny enough, a lot of them were low numbers, but we'd have let's see, like Sweetwater County, for example, sold a lot of plates, and one of the highest numbers that went there was like 34, or one of the best numbers that went there was 34. And we had quite a few 17s pop up, which was Josh Allen's number. So like those ones did very well, but anniversary numbers, things like that.
I have so many questions. I'm not going to ask now, unless we have time. Yeah, license plates. Well, I was thinking like an idea for next year is like little random programs that we do. I was going to share a win of our brick and paver program. I rebranded it. It didn't really have any specific look and feel. People didn't really know about it. We didn't really market it strategically throughout the year. We didn't mail about it. So I completely refreshed the look and feel of our brick and pavers with the intention to educate alums about it, like what it is, like showing a picture of where it is on campus. It's right by one of our, for those of you who came to Maryland, one of our bronze testudos right outside of our building. We had bricks all around that bronze testudo that we weren't like actively selling before. So I was like, so we're going to start selling those at an upcharge. And so kind of went with the bronze testudo colorway, is so it's like more of an elevated look than just like bright red. So we brought in about $40,000 more than last year with this program, just kind of putting a schedule together to actively market it, revamp the look and feel. We put like some graphical maps on there to show where on campus this might be. We did include like an aerial GIF or like a drone video of where the statue is, and like it's right by the stadium, but included that as a GIF in the email. So it really helps move the needle to kind of like put some intentionality behind the education, make it look better. We did increase some of the prices too, and it's paid off. So if anyone has brick and paver programs, I'm in the space now, and we can chat more.
I have a win from Nebraska this year that I was going to share during the media presentation yesterday, but last fall in our magazine, we had an article, and a big feature for the magazine was 99 things we love about the University of Nebraska. So our editorial team built that out, like literally 99 things with copy for each one. So like kudos to them for working through that. But then what I love about it from a marketing and a digital perspective is we were able to take that, translate it to digital. We created a bracket, and then this spring throughout March Madness promoted alumni and fans to vote on their favorite things. So we changed it. It wasn't 99 things. It was like 63 or 6 or 4 or whatever. And it became things we love about the University of Nebraska. We encourage folks to vote over the course of March Madness. And we saw like we got over 28,000 votes for that. Great collaboration with our campus partners as well as they promoted it. Huge reach on social media as well. And now we're still using that content. We're transitioning it to polls on Instagram. So we have weekly, we call it Husker head to head polls that go up on our Instagram that we're picking 2 of those and putting it up there each week and seeing how people vote on that, and using that to then Bailey is recording those interactions in our database as well. So it's like a year-long source of content that we've had a ton of work, but we've been able to make it worth it, I think.
Kind of piggybacking off of the paver program. So one cool thing we've started to do that I think this is our 2nd or 3rd year, we have a partnership with MidFirst Bank, and we do a Pave the Way campaign. And what they do is they build all the marketing assets. They send us code, and we basically send an email. And anybody that qualifies for a credit card through them, they pay for a brick. So that we don't do a lot of work. We build a form that they also send out after somebody qualifies. So like it's not a lot of work on our end, a couple social posts, a couple emails, but it's been pretty successful. So
I wanted to add to the license plates. We do something similar. We are not the contact for it, but if you want more information, we'll find you the person. We have an option for anybody at all times where if they add like ASU license plate, I think it's $25 extra to like your car registration, but 17 of those $25 goes back to student scholarships. And it's like a yearly thing, so that money is just constantly going into scholarships. And it's really cool because you do drive around and you see a lot of them. And I think that's in all of Arizona.
Yeah, so the scholarship money goes to our medallion scholarship program, and it's really cool because it's a 4-year program. So it's the same students like throughout their college career cycle. And from a marketing standpoint, we always make sure to pull a couple of those students aside each year and get them to take pictures like in a big license plate frame. And then we use that on social media and kind of put a face to the name of the program, I guess, when people see that, you know, these are the students that the license plates are actually benefiting. So not only do you get a cool license plate, but you're also helping out students. And that's one of our more successful programs.
I was wanting to say something else we did, or something we do every year is called our Sun Devil 100 program. And it kind of ties into a lot of things we've talked about today. Like it's something we do to recognize business leaders. So they can be a business owner, they can be a founder, a president. And we really we do some stalking to find people sometimes, but that's kind of how we pull them back into having an affinity with the university. But then they become like some of our biggest supporters. So like every time we post about them, like they're sharing it. So like we're getting a lot of attention on social media. We also have started a program called 320 Live, which is a virtual event. So we get 3 honorees and they have 20 minutes each to kind of present on a topic. So each session has like a theme. So we've done like construction, nonprofit, food and beverage, like kind of a wide range. So not only are they help marketing the event, but we kind of like get to build that relationship with them during these sessions as well. And then we also have a mentorship program with them and then our student programming. So it's kind of a way where we made them feel special for one event that we do, but they just keep giving back in like their own way.
So one thing that we were really talking about earlier this spring, and we haven't really seen the results of it, but we're pretty excited about it, is that we were kind of thinking a little bit differently about how we communicate like our value to our donors and to our alumni, and how often and easy it is for us to be humble about the really important work that we're doing. So we're the Yellow Jackets. We started a quarterly series called Highlights from the Hive. And it kind of started as like us as an office brainstorming, like what are the cool things that we aren't telling people about, but that they would find, you know, really impactful about the work that we're doing. And then we expanded on that to find like other areas of campus for alumni and donors who may not be connected to athletics or to other departments that, especially a number of departments that we, you know, the foundation actually like funded projects that have like helped them be the impact that they are. So it's a series that our first one just went out this week. So I'm super excited to get back and kind of see some of those results. But we just really wanted to find a good way to better communicate not only the impact of our work, but just for people to feel that connection and being able to like share those wins that I think a lot of universities sometimes like miss the small things, but those lead to such meaningful impact. And we're hoping that this quarterly series gives us like a good opportunity to be thinking more critically about our work and about like what our wins are. So.
All right, we can do one more quick win, or I have one last question, and it's going to be like a hot potato mic situation. Any last win? Okay, I want to know who you stock for content. Who do you look to? Who are your peers? Who are your aspirational peers? If there's one account, one peer at CAMP that you go to and stock, I'm going to let these ladies up here who already have a mic start, and then just raise your hand and we'll bounce it. Like, who do you stock? We stock Maryland.
I stock Mizzou.
I don't know. Case and Ant.
I'm located in Mississippi, but I stalk Mississippi State's Alumni Association. I love everything that they do.
We stock and copy University of Tampa often.
We stock Boulder, of course, and CSU.
Seconded on the Buffs.
Stock and Clemson.
I'm biased, but Iowa State has been doing some cool things lately.
I stock all of the UW schools.
Michigan.
I stock Penn State.
So University of Central Florida, I think has great socials. Really recommend them.
I feel like I always look at North Carolina.
Back here, who y'all stock?
We stock Oklahoma State.
Coming up. Coming up.
We do Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Kentucky a lot.
Hello. We also stock CU Boulder and Carolina for sure. Thank you.
Woo, go Clemson. All right. Thank you very much. If you have questions for your peers in this room, if there's people outside of the room that we shouted out just now that you want to give a kudos to, please do. This is our last time in this room. So when we leave right now, you're going to pack up all your stuff. Next, we're going up back to the banquet hall for an ice cream social hosted by Amba. That's where we're going to start next. The shuttle back to the graduate starts at 3:40. So you get a little bit of a break today. The shuttle will run from 3:40 to 4:20. Then be back in the graduate lobby at 5:30. We'll walk to dinner together. No more shuttles after you get back to the graduate. So take all your stuff with you. If you have marketing materials up at the top, you have to take with you, not ship back. Take them now. Go get some ice cream, and then you're getting on a shuttle at 3:40 to 4:20. Thank you, everyone.
Not necessarily a question, but there were two questions that like one from you about like how do you show work to your peers basically and not be forgotten about, and then the about like